So, very good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. My name is Naďa Koníčková, and on behalf of the Technology Center of the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic, the main organizer of, together with the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, I would like to open up the very last closing session of the PASITA conference. Technology assessment is definitely one of the key directions we would like to concentrate on in the Technology Center of the Academy of Sciences also in future. I hope that you spent inspiring days and heard interesting talks during the 22 thematic sessions of the conference, but also that you benefited from the networking, which is also an important part of such conferences like this one. We have heard over 100 expert speeches from all around the world, starting from methodological questions of the technology assessment through technology assessment tools, including different levels of participation in civil society engagement, to specific policy areas such as aging society, sustainable development and consumption, or robotics for society. This conference also enabled participants to interconnect and discuss through the social media, concretely through Twitter. We are very glad to see interest in the concrete results of the PASITA project and technology assessment activities from the Czech Parliament and the Ministry of Education, as representatives of them were present here on the first day of the conference. And we hope very much that this interest will not only remain, but increase in the future. Now it's time for final comments, remarks, reflections, impressions. Therefore, I would like to invite our first speaker, which is Mrs. Dionysia Lagiou, Project Officer from the European Commission, DG Research and Innovation, and EC Officer for the PASITA project. So, Dionysia, the floor is yours.
Dear distinguished guests, dear PASITA partners, Dobrý den. I will not use a PowerPoint. I will try to address some key messages to the attention of all of you. So this first PASITA conference takes place at a key moment when the European Commission, the Parliament and the European Council are trying to conclude and reach a consensus and an agreement on the new framework program from research, which is entitled, as you all know, Horizon 2020. And as you also know, Horizon 2020 supports and aims at resolving the grand societal challenges like health, food security, transport, climate change, aging, and others in the timeline between 2014 and 2020. These are very vital and very eager concerns for European citizens, and responding to them, as it has been announced already in all the major policy documents in the frame of the European Union, may well federate Europeans and European publics and reinvigorate their trust to the European project, which is not always in a very good health. So it is now, at this very moment, very good to know that there will be money for tackling the societal challenges, but we also want to ensure that the outcomes of the efforts that will be deployed during this future framework program will be adequate to all the segments of society in the long run, and that will correspond in a responsive and reflexive way to the expectations and the concerns of the various societal actors. I would like to say a few words about the program that has supported a project like PASITA, which is really an emblematic project of the program Science in Society. Since 2000, since the beginning of the 6th framework program, and during also the 7th framework program, we have supported research and coordination activities with a total budget of almost 400 million euros, which is a very substantial amount of money, in order to address and tackle the issues that touch upon the societal dimension of science and technology. And what we have found out after this full decade is that betting on technology acceptance is no longer a valid option. It never was, in fact. That diversity in research and innovation is a prerequisite for achieving creativity and promoting better results. And that early and continuous engagement of society is key to innovation, adequacy, and acceptability. Now, how this program has tried to penetrate into the era of Horizon 2020. We have been relabeled. In the proposals, if you read the proposals for Horizon 2020, you will not find Science in Society, you will find responsible research and innovation. And I will give the working definition on which we are based. It is one of the existing definitions. In practical terms, it means that all societal actors work together during the whole research and innovation processes in order to align the processes and the outcomes with the values, needs, and expectations of the European citizens and of the entire European society. So it represents this definition, an inclusive vision of engaging publics more in the processes than in the results. And as I will explain later, you will see that it is a very specific definition, which does not have the ambition to cover all that can come under its sense, its scope. Since 2010, the focus of the Science in Society was to develop, since 2010, so the final years of the Framework Program 7, was exactly to develop a governance framework for responsible research and innovation. So, I have to mention here that some of the members of the consortium of PASITA, like Armin Grunwald and Armin, have to do with this shift we operated, because they were part of an expert group, which was called MASIS Expert Group, who produced a report in 2009, which was called Challenging Futures of Science and Society in Europe. And there was a point made about responsible research and innovation, which highlighted more the ethical aspect of it, but this was quite inspiring. This was a seminal report for the Commission department managing Science in Society. So since 2010, we have started developing a governance framework. And now we are trying to make this framework really operational in Horizon 2020. Since 2012, we have translated really in concrete actions, and we are striving to make it really, to allow it to find its adequate place in Horizon 2020 and in the European research area. In the proposals that are now on the desk of the Council and the Parliament in the frame of the co-decision process, responsible research and innovation is a cross-cutting issue that pervades, is integrated in the entire program, and is relevant for all the societal challenges. This is a very good thing, but this is also a little dangerous. And the themes that composed the Science and Society program, which were gender, science education, governance, ethics, communication, are now under the third pillar, under the inclusive, innovative and secure society. Secure has already gone out of it, but this is the architecture. I say that it is a very good thing, but it might also be something dangerous, is that when you bring something so much omnipresent in an action plan or in a key policy document, there is a small risk that it is diluted in this big ensemble and that it's not really in its adequate place, I would say. So in practice, and under the guidance that we receive from the commissioner, from hierarchy, from the Director General, Robert Jan Smits, we are working on elaborating on a package, responsible research and innovation, which will aim to engage society in research and innovation activities, and that will be able and operational for so that it is taken up by all the programs and all the societal challenges. I will come, if I have a little time, very quickly to the components of this package, of this operational framework, which is responsible research and innovation, and which hopefully will continue supporting excellent projects like PASITA. It has as a key overarching component societal engagement, which is a very important part. One of the instruments for coping with societal engagement is the funding instrument, mobilization and mutual learning action plans. It is very present in all the presentations, the need for learning, for co-creation, for co-development, for co-evolution. So the aim of the mobilization mutual learning action plans like PASITA is to bring together actors from all horizons, different horizons, and develop a new proximities, new common grounds for understanding and for approaching diverse interests or points of view and things like that. We consider this as a very important thing, and in order for the societal challenges to be addressed at a satisfactory level, it is important that all the actors of society and the entire society is engaged and feels responsible about the future. So in a co-building mode, in order to draw on collective intelligence and ensure trust and co-responsibility between the actors. I would like to highlight here a pilot project that we are in the process of running now. It was set up upon the demand of the Commissioner, Mary Geoghegan-Quinn, who is interested in showing to the European citizens and also to the European policymakers that the Commission, the European Union, is interested in giving voice to European citizens. So we were asked to create a pilot project in which we would consult directly European citizens on a specific challenge. So we found an interest for embarking in this kind of adventure in the Directorate Environment of the DG, of the Director General for Research. And they identified as an interesting topic the urban waste. It is topical. There has been very, very little, almost nothing, in the European Union on this. No action, no research, no nothing up to now. Only 2 years in the work program. And we have tasked the Excite network, which is a network of the pan-European network of scientific musea and scientific centers, to create focus groups in all 27 member states, 3 per country, and in the bigger countries a little more than 3, mobilizing a number of 1,000 European citizens who are selected by specialized agencies and companies at random, who will have the opportunity to discuss and have dialogue on the subject of urban waste. And the engagement, the commitment of these our colleagues in the Directorate for Environment is that in the first work program 2014, the first Horizon 2020 work program, they will integrate the outcome of this direct consultation with the citizens, labeled and highlighted as such. And it will be, we hope, more than at least 3 topics, we hope. We had really to publicize our idea and to convince. We tried with other programs, it was not taken up. And this is to tell you that, it is very important that a program and a dedicated team and a dedicated budget continues to exist in Horizon 2020 if these issues are to be taken care of. So this I had to say about the public engagement. Then we have the gender in responsible research and innovation, in research and innovation processes. The gender is concerns equally the gender balance in research activities, and also the structural changes in the research institutions and the funding organizations, and also research the gender dimension as a content of research. And in Horizon, gender is also a very highly ranked priority. Then it is the open access, which is which attracts also lots of interest. There are some quite active stakeholders that are against. There are others who are very much in favor. The Commission has published a communication and is going to set up a pilot scheme on open access related to privacy, intellectual property, legitimate commercial interests, beneficiaries, and security concerns. Then it's the component of ethics, in the sense that research and innovation must be anchored to the highest ethical standards and fundamental rights. And Horizon has to ensure that research effectively plays an important role in that. Science education, formal and informal science education, in order to succeed, to make European societies scientifically literate and create the future innovators. And the governance. The last is governance, and this is about creating and developing effective and efficient governance models for responsible research and innovation. And a specific toolkit is now in the program 2013 to be developed for training in order to mainstream good practices of responsible research and innovation across the challenges. In conclusion, I hope I will have the time to conclude and pass my important message. There is a possibility that this program that has survived in these 2 framework programs might not be as visible in the past in the Horizon 2020 as it was in the 2 framework programs before, and that it is mainstreamed across all the challenges. This is it's not the best scenario possible. We are really working hardly to make it happen otherwise, so that there is a budget, that there is a structure that will continue having the interest, the focus, and the passion for this kind of research and activities. As you saw from the components that come under responsible research and innovation, the ethics is just one part of the 6 components, the 6 keys as we call them. But one of the efforts we are trying to accomplish is that responsible research and innovation and what was science in society and its components are not against innovation are not susceptible to create obstacles to innovation. On the contrary, I would like to finish by paying tribute and my great esteem to Pasita and to the entire consortium. Again, I would like to refer to that old report by the Masses expert group, which had identified, we had asked them if they could see the premises or the existence of a European model of doing, of tackling the science and society issues or the social dimension of research. And their reply was that technology assessment, if anything else, the way the theory and praxis of technology assessment in Europe is a key element of what could be presented as an emerging European model of doing research. I would like at the end to refer to what Professor Becker said yesterday, that the constitution has to change. I would like to paraphrase it. The constitution, or rather the constitutional theory or theories in Europe, in the continental Europe at least, undergo de facto changes because even without us noticing it. As Ari Rip wrote in 1998 in an article about the coevolution of science, technology and society. So, díky za pozornost. Thank you very much for your attention. I would like to thank Pasita, and I hope to be able to work with you and support you on the side of the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, for your comments, information from the level and point of view of the European Commission, and also for support to Pasita project. Now I would like to give the floor to Dr. Karel Eim, who is a Vice Chairman of the Council for Research, Development and Innovation, and as well head of the Laboratory of Thermodynamics at the Institute of Chemical Process Fundamentals of the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic. So I would like to ask for your final remarks and your view on how the technology assessment could be used in the conditions of the Czech Republic.
Thank you, Naďa. First, I'm really sorry I couldn't be with you during the conference. I was quite busy and partly absent in Barcelona at a meeting. But I was lucky enough to be at the very start of organizing the conference, and lucky enough to be at the dinner last night. So I actually spoke to some of the participants and had some positive responses and positive echoes on how the conference proceeded. So I think I believe that the conference was a success. I'm expected to say something about the local situation, so I will not bother you with definitions and usefulness of technology assessment. What I know is that the parliamentary technology assessment is a central issue of the Pasita project. And speaking about parliamentary technology assessment and the situation in the Czech Republic, I mean, the very simple message is that PTA is practically absent in the country. Of course, there are processes running in the legislative process, like environmental impact analysis or developing health technology assessment, or to some extent also the regulatory impact analysis, which are of course present. That's quite clear, but otherwise we are far from approaching the situation of the technology assessment being institutionalized in any way. But we are, I mean, not at a real zero point, but what is really missing is a systematic and coordinated technology assessment, and providing a platform for linking and making feasible the communication between the main stakeholders, which you all know, which are in the game. That means the research sphere, the application sphere, the political sphere, and the society. So you are probably better aware of the models that you could have for institutionalizing technology assessment. It may be a committee or a commission within a parliament. Actually, we have, of course, a structure of the parliament, and we have some committees which touch technology assessment, so to say, in their scope, and which would be primarily communicating with such a committee or commission. You can have a technology assessment office which would be a part of state administration, close either to government itself or to our R&D council, or you can have an independent organization that would closely collaborate with state administration. Actually, if you look at the mission of the Technology Center, the organizer of the conference, is fulfilling some of the roles as independent organization. I mean, there is a contract with the Office of the Government, and Technology Center has been providing a number of reports which I think well fall into the scope of technology assessment area. From what is happening in the R&D and innovation sector in the Czech Republic, I may mention first a project that was, we called it individual national project. It was a large and quite costly project funded from structural funds, and it was an international audit of the system of R&D and innovation in the Czech Republic. This is just coming to the very end. We are now waiting for the final recommendations for implementing the results of the project into our regulatory system. Another problem of this project of this type was started last February, and that's again a project funded from structural funds, and that is aiming at finding effective methodology of evaluation of research and of funding research. So in fact, if there is a relatively well-defined way how to proceed with technology assessment and incorporating the notion of technology assessment into our institutional structure, that will probably be the activity within this project that could help. On the other hand, at present, we have in a pipeline actually 3 modifications of the basic piece of legislation on R&D, on the funding of R&D from public resources, but none of them, of course, is of that kind that would introduce any institution that would explicitly be responsible for technology assessment. For the foreign guests, actually the state administration of R&D is kind of peculiar in this country, because it is the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports, which is in fact responsible for research and whose minister is reporting on research issues in the government. And we have the R&D Council, of which I'm a vice chair, which is chaired by the Prime Minister, and which is primarily responsible for providing a qualified proposal of the budget for R&D and innovation. And the 2 bodies share actually responsibility in formulating the national policy. The R&D Council for the national part, more or less, and the Ministry of Education for international cooperation and international part. So there is certainly a room for improvement, and in fact, the technology assessment organization could mediate kind of, or kind of overbridge our problem with the communication of the two, even though it is, I mean, quite vivid, and we are, of course, trying to do our best within this arrangement. And I must admit that any major change to this setup is not cannot be seen in a foreseeable future, because of course the political situation plays a role. We will have parliamentary elections next year, so the present government will probably not go for any major transformation steps. So I think that's about what I wanted to say. So there is really a room for technology assessment activities in this country. I believe that this conference was one step forward to actually to raise awareness on the problem and to open the window of opportunity. And thereby, I would thank all the organizers and all the active participants and even passive participants of the conference for participation in the conference. And I just wish bright future to the Pasita project and further conferences on this topic. And you can wish bright future to state administration of research, development, and innovation of this country. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing with us your opinion on potential of technology assessment and its use in the Czech Republic. It's clear that it's a long-term process, and this is the conference is maybe the first step. And now I would like to ask Dr. Leonard Hennen from the Institute for Technology Assessment and System Analysis from Karlsruhe, who is the coordinator of the European Technology Assessment Group, ETAC, for his final remarks and words.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm the one responsible for work package number 4 in the Pasita project, and this work package is dealing with setting up platforms for an exchange all over Europe about technology and supporting the development of technology assessment initiatives in many, many countries. What we did in this work package and are still working on now is we explored the situation in many countries in Europe where technology assessment, institutionally at least, does not exist yet, and try to help people there to set up something, to create networks. We are planning to have 2 parliamentary meetings where parliamentarians can meet and discuss about technology assessment. The first one had taken place in Copenhagen already. There will be another one in Lisbon. We have this first European Technology Assessment magazine, Volta, which helps a lot, I think, to set up a platform for discussions. You have found it in your papers. And we have these 2 conferences that we are organizing. And I think the conferences are the most important thing for bringing the European TA community together and providing a platform for discussions here. And this was the start in this endeavor. The next conference will be in Berlin in around 2 years' time, maybe at the end of 2014 or the beginning of 2015. It's not fixed yet, but keep that in mind, please. Whether this conference was a successful start in doing that is up to you, to the technology assessors, to assess. And we invite all of you to get back to give feedback to us on that. If there are some urgent comments, please do it now, but email communication is open for your comments. We really would like to have them in order to improve things for the next time. I think one success criterion is met already, or we met it with this conference. That is the fact that you all are or have been here. I think we were quite successful in bringing the European TA community together here. That's a success in itself. And we even had, we are happy to have had colleagues from overseas here, from Asia, from the US, and from Australia. We hope that will continue for the next conference. And yeah, we did a lot in this conference. We tackled a lot of issues related to conceptual, methodological questions of technology assessment. We covered a broad field of technologies and related policy problems, as broad as possible, I would say. We could do that. We had 3 very good keynote speakers who made us think about our role in democracy, our role in risk management, and our role in strategies of a country like the Czech Republic to set up sustainable infrastructures in the country. I think that was good to be intrigued to think about that. We, in a way, I would say, when I this morning looked again into the program, I realized that we, don't take me too serious now, that we in a way covered the complete span of the history of the interplay of human mankind with technology, complete. If you remind, on Wednesday we had this nice performance that reminded us of how it all began, with a stick and a stone, and if I'm right, with a sandwich. That's what I understood. And that was the start, and today we touched on the other end of this development with sessions about emerging technologies and synthetic biology, which is about it's not about tools, technology as a tool, but which is about manufacturing synthetic forms of life with prospects and risks, prospects that go into environment and health, things into probably a biology-based economy, a complete change of our economy possibly, including maybe self-reproducing sandwiches. I couldn't afford to make that joke, sorry. And yeah, so we covered a broad span of issues, and I think what I liked most here at the conference is this constant humming going on in the breaks here in the corridors. So that was, you in a way could hear the European Technology Assessment community communicate. That was nice to listen to. I think that also this building here, perfectly chosen by our perfect hosts from the Technology Center, helped a lot to keep this communicative mood. I also liked that we here in the middle of a library with all these students outside there next door, and I don't know whether it really happened, but I like to imagine that probably a few of these students outside there, while we were talking here, were looking up in the library literature about technology assessment to understand what are they doing here in these rooms. Would be nice if this really happened. Yes, what we try to do with this conference mainly is to take up kind of a tradition, a short tradition. There were some technology assessment conferences in the past, in the 80s, the European Technology Assessment Conferences, supported by the European Commission. If I'm right, the last one of these conferences was exactly 20 years ago, 1993. And after 20 years now, we try to take up this tradition again. We definitely will have 2 conferences, and we hope that we will have more. And when I listen to Dionysia, just in her speech, I'm quite optimistic that we get more support to do more in this respect. Yes, the last thing I have to do is, of course, to thank everybody, you for being here, the speakers, the keynote speakers, the chairs of the sessions. And I have to thank the team for organizing it. And this was a team made up by colleagues from my home institute, from ITAS, and from the Technology Center. And for the next conference in Berlin, we will change rules a little bit. We will be the hosts, and our Czech colleagues will back us up. And I know that we will have a hell of a job to keep up to the standards, organizational standards set here and the hospitality standards set here in Prague. Yes, there were many people very involved from our side in Germany and from the side of our colleagues here. I would like to name a few. From our side, I would like to name Constanze Scherz and Linda Nierling. And from the side of our Czech colleagues, they were even more involved, and they took the last responsibility for everything, that it really worked. And I would like to mention Thomas Michalek, Eva Vankulova, and last but not least, Lenka here. And yes, I think we had a beautiful conference, and it's all your fault. So have a good trip, Rome, and I would like to see everybody in Berlin within 2 years' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your kind words. And now I would like to ask Lars for very last word from his side.
Well, as Leo said, it's up to you to judge if it was a success. I've made my own judgment. I learned something from each session. I would even say I learned something from each presentation. And that's not something I would say from all conferences I've been at. I also think we really developed in here. We look forward on methods, on issues, on collaboration, on the idea of technology assessment. And that was, as I said a couple of days ago, a main aim here. Another aim was that we had serious fun together, and I think we had. So for me, this is a perfect success. And there are many to thank. Leo already thanked. In Denmark, we have a word for a person who is very, very strong. You just cannot tilt this person. Put this person on a mission and things will be done. And we call it an iron, like a piece of iron. The stick, the iron stick, not the tree stick. And we have a person here who is an iron. Lenka. Yeah, it's all your fault, as Leo said, and my God, you have worked. And I know you, here and there and now and then, you said, I didn't know that it was so much work. But that didn't tilt you, you're an iron. Thanks so much. Yeah, let's do it again. I also think we have to be grateful to the science and to the existence of the Science in Society program. I mean, it's the fact that there were people there who put up a call because they found these kind of things important, that PACITA existed, and that we are able now to pick up on a tradition that ended in '93 with the European conferences. So I don't know if Dionysia said it as straight as it could be said. But then I will do it. There's a risk that this will not happen again. And the risk is that the Science in Society program disappears. They will just be single civil servants in a much larger system. So it will be very difficult for them to actually put up this kind of ambitions for responsible TA, for responsible research and innovation, TA, foresight, and these kind of things. So there is a risk that the kind of things we want to happen will have less support in the Commission in the future if this happens. And I'm saying this because I'm personally going to lobby for the continued existence of Science and Society, and to be honest, I hope you will do as well. Contact your national contact points, say to them, are you aware of what is happening here? Because it is really important for the continuation of the work of TA. The connecting and expanding TA in Europe, I think the Commission is very important for that. because we have these ambitions. It is an ambition for PERSITA in some way to continue working for the expansion of TA in Europe, or for the closer connection of TA in Europe, not the least. For example, of having these kind of conferences in the future. And it would be obvious that this Science and Society group, someone who are very important and good to talk with about such kind of developments in the future. So I think that is important. And if Dionysia didn't say it clear, then I hope I've said it clear now. The future inside PERSITA now is, as Leo said, where we can meet together again will be in the end of 2014 or the beginning of 2015, where there will be the next conference. But as I also said a couple of days ago, there is a practitioners meeting, which is the training session on methodologies. There will be 2 more in the PERSITA project. Send your young PhDs or whoever to these kind of events. That's another place where they can connect to the TA community. So, by saying this, we will try to build up continuation of this communication in TA and this connection in TA. And we really hope you will join us in that and join us in the next conference. And then I will also say, as Leo, thanks for being here, thanks for being who you are, and get safe home.
Thank you very much. Also from my side, I would like to thank you, the participants, thank the speakers, and of course, thank to the organization team from the Technology Center, Lenka and colleagues from Karlsruhe. And now the lunch is ready in the foyer. In case there are not any urgent comments, remarks, or questions. No? So thank you once again, and have a safe flight and safe travel back to home.